Hey y'all, it is January the 22nd, 2020. Y'all, we made it, just barely. We just barely made it on. And we got a little bit of time that we could share with each other. And obviously, you know, we're going to break it down. Got some love to break down for each other. Obviously, you can tell by the title. And so with that being said, you know, just going to go ahead and take the opportunity right quick to set the mood, all right? And of course, I mean, already, if you're into classics, it's one of my favorite, actually. Or, I mean, one of my favorites. I got a bunch of them, but this one really gets down. I found a cover of it just now. It's by our man, Mr. No Weapon. I like that name. All right? And he's taking us back. He's doing some computer love on his talk box, all right? And I think you're going to want to hear it. So, I'm going to set the mood, all right? So, welcome to anybody who's going to stumble in here. We got a little bit of time, but we are going willy-nilly, kind of rushing things. But I wanted to touch base with y'all tonight, all right? Make some connections. Here's our man, Mr. No Weapon.
What y'all know about that right there?
What do y'all know about that right there?
If you remember this,
I do.
let me hear you sing it. Searching for someone. That special love with me. And your eyes have that glow. Could it be your face, I think? On my computer screen. Be that special girl. She'll do my computer world. No longer need astrology. Thanks to modern. If you know it, sing. Just a little bit. Some hot sexy mamas to cool I wanna share the treasure oh so rare. Could it be your face I think? Oh, such a sweet delight. I wanna cherish the memory of this night. Yes, I found. I love you, Mr. No Weapon, Louisiana, baby.
Oh, yeah, y'all. Shout out to the person up in the building. You already can kind of tell what it is, huh, tonight. All right. Hey, we don't want none of that sleepy. Stay wide awake here on this here video, on this here live stream tonight. And I know it's getting kind of romantic, and I'm sorry about that. All right, it's January the 22nd, 2020. We had some time to touch base with each other, see what we can't create here on this live stream, see if we're coming in good at all. I would assume that we are, all right? Looking for the comments. Because I haven't received a comment, I could assume that you're hearing me just fine. So I thought we'd just stumble into things all willy-nilly tonight. That's why, you know, especially why I didn't want to put like a different topic because I'm not sure exactly where it's going, but it's gonna all be love. You can rest assured. Speaking of that, I want to show you a picture. All right, like I say, like sometimes I'll go through the news like right before a broadcast and just make sure I can pick up little things, maybe take a note of it. And I really didn't do that this time. But it's because I went to this. I went to Google and straight away, like right from the top, this, this is what the picture they gave me. All right? Take that in for a second. I don't think I can enlarge it, but you can come real close to the screen. Look at that. And we talk about all sort of details and stuff like that. We want to see evidence around here. I don't know about everybody else, but you know, quality and content and stuff like that. But at the same time, very superficially, right? That's the face that I mean. That's a symbol, a representative of the people. What they want, those certain people, they're on his side. All right? Can you imagine yourself being on this guy's side? All right, just from judging a book by its cover. All right, would you ever leave your children alone with this fellow right here? And his friend is Ed Buck, very dear friend of his. Let's see what it says in the headline. It says, at Senate impeachment trial, restless lawmakers struggle to sit through Schiff's opening argument. All right, so that's by Fox News. It's fake news. All right, here's the thing. We know Fox is fake news as well. So maybe we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Fox just went ahead and picked because they're like supposedly opponents of Adam Schiff. And so they picked the worst picture of Adam Schiff that they could possibly pick. All right. They just, for that right moment, they got that right snapshot. They freeze framed it for him to look all crazy like that. I forget how to spell his name. Let's go ahead and let's see if that might not be the case, all right? We're going to do a little investigating real quick because we're not just going to take, obviously, Fox's word for it. Of course, in the whole scheme of things, if you would go on the left-right paradigm, you'd say, hey, Google, they're very left-leaning, all right? And so they would give all the best pictures of Adam Schiff, all right? And indeed they did. Indeed they did. But, however, you could still see very untrustable looking from the jump. All right, look at those eyes. Look at those eyes, right? And then take a second to look at that mouth. Oh, man. And so some people, I don't know, just like ourselves, perhaps back in the day, were so upside down that they couldn't tell that they were on this guy's side about certain things. Meanwhile, ultimately, I don't think it's none of our business. I don't think it's none of our business, technically. I mean, maybe it was during election time. All right, but a lot of people have made it their business and they become very passionate about it. Very passionate about it. And as we just sit here and look at this guy's face, I just want to say this. You know, I've done a little bit, I feel like, and I've noticed a little bit of growth on my part as of recently. You know, thinking back on these past number of years, looking back politically, becoming aware of what the heck was going on. I can say this, you know, I remember not liking Obama, and that was towards like his second half of being president. Just really not liking him, but then again, not liking politicians, not liking politics, just like everybody who used to be a child didn't like politics, right? They had to somehow become acclimated because they realized that somehow they were getting bent over a barrel, figuratively, financially. And they realized politics had a lot to do with it. And they were like, oh man, we need to know about this and blah, blah, blah. People have their different stories. Mine was that, all right? Started not liking Obama. And then I would listen to like, you know, people, I would start listening to people on the internet and stuff like that, talk radio, and they have all sort of rhetoric, different types of rhetoric. And they were like, you know, some of them were getting all hot under the collar because they really, really didn't like Obama. They really, really didn't like him. So they would shout in the wind the words impeachment. They're like, oh, we should impeach this. Ah, we gotta impeach this guy. And they were getting emphatic, some of them. But not many, actually. Not many back in that day. There's people who like spoke against his policies and stuff like that, but not so emphatically. I think you'll agree as a Donald Trump has been ramped up, all right, by certain constituencies. All right, so what we noticed was kind of a flip flop on this so-called left-right paradigm. We realized that, well, yeah, the left wing is supposedly they're just getting all fanatical and fantastical. None of it makes sense. And then you got the right wing, who more than half of it doesn't make any damn sense. But a lot of people found themselves to be conservative, and they started exiting out of wherever, out of the black community, Hispanic community, Chinese community, the lesbian community, the gay community, and all sort of perhaps trans communities as well. I don't know. That's what I heard. Anyways, a lot of people want to impeach Donald Trump, just like the way that people wanted to impeach Obama, but like times 2 or 3, if we're being conservative. And I was standing back looking at it, and sure, I'm definitely a fan of Donald Trump's rhetoric. Above everything else, I've seen him try to do and implement policies and stuff like that, trying to get that wall built. He is building, I mean, there is wall going up. And people keep saying that there's no wall going up, and it's kind of ridiculous. But I've been standing back looking at it, basically a fan of it, basically a fan of America, all right? That's what we're realizing, that some people really don't like America. They think of it as like the inventor of slaves and stuff like that, and everything that's wrong with the world is wrong with America. It's the ultimate Babylon, even though they don't even believe in the Bible or anything like that. It's all wackadoodle, right? So they're going all wackadoodle. They can't even help it. They had to believe what the television's telling them, and television's telling them that there's an orange Nazi running amok all Washington, D.C. and everywhere else. Right? So, of course, if they believe it, well, yeah, if you did believe it, of course you'd want to be all protesting or carrying on and doing whatever, right? But that's kind of, we take a step back and we realize that that's not a good thing, right? Obviously. But it made me look even more retrospectively back to those Obama days. It's like, man, technically that wasn't a good thing. Right? Yeah, was Obama communist? Yeah, probably, and stuff. He was in favor of it, and he would like to spice it up into the American fabric and stuff like that. And I certainly didn't like his rhetoric, and I found him very boring at that. But at the same time, perhaps nobody should have been saying the words impeachment. All right? Yeah, just go ahead and disagree because you're going to be a different person. And so you're going to might disagree with them on various things. And so do this. But the word impeachment is pretty much a travesty, all right? We're looking at it very simply because I'm simple-brained over here. I'm simple-brained. If we're having an election every 4 years, and all between those 4 years, everybody's shouting impeachment from the other side, well, that's not really an election, is it? Because it kind of nullifies it, right? It kind of makes it like insignificant the whole time. It's like, man, that's the thing about it. It should be very drastic, right? It should be extremely drastic to even think about it. I mean, we better catch the president choking a young intern in the Oval Office before we even discuss the idea of impeachment. Honestly, but we should oppose everything that we don't like, especially this guy's face. I'm sorry for whoever's been looking at it. Don't stare directly at the screen. We're going to get it off the dang screen. Oh gosh, we need to get it off the screen. But you can find various pictures, all right? And like I said, his friend Ed Buck, oh, you want to type in the words Ed Buck? I'm sure everybody here has heard of Ed Buck, to be honest, right? But everybody else in the dang world claims to not even know about Adam Schiff and his boy Ed Buck. All right, clearly in these pictures you say, oh, they're just pictures. Well, I have reason to believe that it's more than just pictures, right? That they're just looking. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling. All right, I'm just leave it at that. That these people liked each other quite a lot, and perhaps like to hang out at each other's apartments over there in Los Angeles. Right? Wilding out. Let's see. Shoot. While we're on the case, I got to admit, I haven't been following the Ed Buck case too closely. You might understand that black male individuals uh, 2 times actually came up dead up in his apartment, overdosed and stuff like that, perhaps tortured, stuff like that. That's what it looked like. Let's see about the news. 2 different ones, meaning one came up dead, and then he carried on and was doing whatever he wanted to still. And then he did it again. Another black dude ended up dead. Right? You might say that that's racist, that he would do that. You know what? I don't know. I might agree to an extent. Or I don't believe in racism, but I do believe he was targeting black individuals. A judge had tough questions for the DA's office at yesterday's Ed Buck's whatnot. All right, we might read like a paragraph out of one of these if they let us, just real quick. But suffice it to say, like I said, if you're not familiar with this particular case, two black male individuals, came up dead, overdosed in this guy's apartment, looking all suspicious, and it was crazy. And nothing happened to him. Still nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him. All right? Anyway. All right, and then nothing happened. And then later on, another individual got caught up in his spiderweb apartment of death and destruction. And he actually escaped like to a nearby gas station or something like that. That's how the story goes. Escaped, and then he called the police, and then it became a situation after that. All right, because they had a live one. So I don't know what it's going to say up in this paragraph, right, that we're going to read. Of course, I don't know if we have time for the whole thing, but that's what happened. That's how he ended up in court, and this is all alleged. Supposedly, I mean, they caught real dead bodies about his. That's not really alleged that they were dead bodies. Whether or not he was involved with their murder and their torture, well, I guess that's up for debate. Look at this guy. I mean, you saw the pictures from earlier. Turning a straight ghoul goblin. Shout out to the 3 people up in the building. Let's see if we got comments up in this building. Rabbi Brenda says, hi. That guy looks like he's standing in the pits of hell in that first picture. In the pits of hell. Yeah, I would 100% endorse that. That is our dear co-host on Rabbi Brenda. She's going to wrap everything for everybody, all right? So just lay it out flat for everybody to see quite clearly, and that is what it is. And, you know, you guys, I just want to suggest something. It's something that I've, said before and probably say it again. People like to think of the afterlife and stuff like that, right? I mean, say if your body, you've seen dead people probably, and your body dies and stuff, so you think of an afterlife and a different dimension and stuff. Yeah, that's probably it's probably more fantastic than we can imagine. I would wager. But at the same time, heaven and hell, yeah, that exists on earth, all right? I don't know about y'all, but I've experienced both those things many times, right? And they do exist, obviously, all right? So when someone says, like, for example, oh, man, that you should go to hell, or I don't know if we could say that on YouTube, but they're like, oh, you should go to hell. I wish this person would go to hell and stuff. It's like I don't really endorse necessarily running around talking like that. At the same time, to say someone's going to hell doesn't mean like after they die. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people think that we're making some sort of judgment for after you die. No, not really. You're going to hell in a handbasket right now here on earth in front of everybody. You're going to hell, and you look like it. Your face looks like it. All right, and we're talking about Adam Schiff. This is a bug right here. Of course, he went to hell. You can tell me that face ain't been through hell. All right, for sure he has. It disintegrated. It disintegrated his face. All right, but let's just read the first paragraph. So the judge had a tough questions for the DA's office at yesterday's Ed Buck hearing. All right, while we have a little bit of time, let's go ahead and share this by Ian Spiegelman, and God bless that guy for bringing us some information from Los Angeles. Defense attorneys for the Los Angeles District Attorney Jackie Lacey and her deputies were blasted by a federal judge Monday during a hearing on their motion to dismiss a wrongful death and discrimination suit brought against the DA's office by the mother of Jamel Moore. That was one of the unfortunate victims of whatever it is took place in Ed Buck's apartment over and over without recourse. Who was found dead of a methamphetamine overdose in Ed Buck's West Hollywood apartment. For those who don't know, in 2017, Ed Buck's been a heavy contributor to the Democratic Party to the point of just rubbing elbows with the likes of, say, Adam Schiff's, Hillary Clinton's, and stuff like that. He wore a bow tie. There's nothing suspicious about that, right? The suit claims that Lacey refused to investigate or charge a white man in the death and sexual abuse. See, they put on the racial element, and although, on this channel we've overcome, I feel like, I don't know about y'all, but I don't even care about this whole, people are, it's what it is. I'm not hating on anybody. Right. But as far as racism, if anything, we're going to be racist in the whole world. It'd probably be this, and they do have a point, really, when they bring that up. Okay, so let's read it again. The suit claims that Lacey refused to investigate or charge a white man in the death and sexual abuse of a black man, even though Moore's mother, Letitia Nixon, that's a different name, provided her with evidence that Buck was a predator or who regularly drugged and assaulted black men in particular. Right. Last January, Timothy Dean was also found dead of an overdose at Buck's home. That would be another guy, and he died. His family filed suit against Buck and the DA's office last week. Not only just Buck, but against the DA's office for not handling business. They did it by design, and I think everybody's going to wind up figuring that out during all these here lawsuits, all right? And so who knows what kind of pandemonium will come from all that. That's pretty dang wild. That should be like, everybody talking about that across the nation, instead of whatever it is that they were talking about today. And I'm not sure. Shout out to the people up in the comments section. Whatever it is, if you got a thing, you got a little thing, and it might be the keys to all success for us tonight. And you'd be surprised at the smallest things sometimes show the biggest pictures and stuff. So feel free, as always, invited. Safety first, as I always say. And we're gonna just go willy-nilly through some stuff. Actually, you guys, I had to issue sort of a correction. Not necessarily an apology, because technically it wasn't my fault, and I think you're gonna see. But, the other day I posted a video on YouTube, and it was kind of random. I had like a second or a minute to talk about this guy. And there was what happened was there was a double murder, or a double killing, a double killing that took place in San Antonio. Let's see if we could go, let's see, maybe we just go back to Google. Type in about that killing. Anyways, I brought it up, and it's from San Antonio, and it was kind of outrageous and stuff because, basically, like I said, the basic details were that 2 people got shot dead, and then 5 other people got shot, actually, in San Antonio, at the Riverwalk, not at the Riverwalk, but close by at a club. Let's see, if we type in shooting San Antonio, it'll probably pop right up, because it's the last big, I guess, shooting around here. And it wasn't, very long ago. So that should make it pop right up. And then we'll talk about it, because I put out a video, and, basically calling out for fake news, because it said, 2 people got shot dead, 5 people got injured, and the dude is firing indiscriminately. Now, I don't know that that's what it's going to say right now. But back when it was just very, we were like in the smoke settling phase, they were talking about, someone running up into the, and you could go back to the video, and they probably don't have evidence of what I'm talking about anymore. They probably covered up their tracks anyways. But if you go back to my video, there was 2 different sources talking about the shooter was firing indiscriminately. And I found that word because they stressed that word indiscriminately. And I thought about, okay, well, what does that word mean? And so it's obvious what that word means. And then when you think about the whole situation of what just basically took place, the basics of what took place, you know that it was not indiscriminately, right? If you're from here, if you know anything, it's like about it, it's like, no, it just doesn't happen, right? You'd have to have some crazy government wind up toy and stuff like that. I mean, that just doesn't happen here. Nobody fires indiscriminately. He knew exactly what he was doing, whoever it was. Right, and it turned out to be this fella right here, actually, or allegedly. Actually, he admits to it, so it's not really alleged. But they're about to get into some stuff, and you're seeing like teen suspect killing two in San Antonio, shooting promotes Instagram, and he sure did. And we're gonna see if we can go across a video about that. Okay, so but to issue the correction, nothing about it was indiscriminate, and in fact, saying the word indiscriminate is very irresponsible, right? Extremely irresponsible, but nobody has to apologize for nothing. So I'm apologizing on behalf of them for saying the word indiscriminately, in fact, making it the first word in the whole dang news article. And meanwhile, it has nothing to do with indiscriminate, right? And in fact, nobody could have messed that story up. There was nobody in that club who looked around and said, oh, you know, I think all this just happened indiscriminately. I think it just happened and nothing, and for no reason. All right, so it's irresponsible, and that's why I wanted to put that out there. But like it says right here, and I don't know if we want to go to NBC News because lots of times they be jerking us around. You know what I'm saying, with like ads and this and that. We're gonna see if we can see our man right here, Kiernan Christopher Williams. Very much looks like he's from San Antonio, to be honest. Like one of those mixed. A lot of people mix around here, and you know, he just looks like he is. All right, so it's like, okay, I can understand. It's probably very organic. I don't know what exactly is going on here, but as upon further review of the situation, I saw our man Kiernan, and I think that I'm gonna click this video right here on the bottom, and it should be the right thing. Hopefully, it doesn't play ads and mess up our whole stream. I want to play this for you. Let me just go ahead and play it for you, and then we're going to talk about it on the other side because I definitely have something to share about this particular video and what we're seeing. Let's see if it just plays just like we want it to, you guys. Let's see if it does. Probably not, right? NBC News. I don't want to read you. Who even knows who's the author of whatever this dang article? All right, I just want to hear from Kiernan. Now here's one. It looks like he's just standing up, but I saw one where he's walking. I think it might be this one. All right, and in which, you know, just like they say, he's talking about his Instagram. Oh, I hope they play it. What are they doing?
I'm offensive assistant coach for the San
don't.
Francisco 49ers.
How did that
I'm
even
not just
happen? See,
here to be the
oh my gosh. Y'all, if you even caught the very first part of that commercial, and you might have seen it because of all this football going on the televisions, I'm not even gonna say any words about what you're looking at. If you've seen that, if you've seen that commercial, I'm not gonna say anything, but you know exactly what I'm thinking. You already know what it is, all right? And so let me see if possible. What I think is that I accidentally pushed my finger on the wrong thing. And let's see if we can play one more time. Just so they, I mean, because I don't imagine y'all have seen this. I mean, if you have, God bless you, man. You've been watching some news. But I just wanted to see this. Like, I guess they're going to play it, and I got to unmute it. Might be the case. Oh, man. Technology is failing us, but the thing is, it's more than technology because we could easily see this thing. Look at this ads. Look at this dastardly behavior. Oh man, we're not even gonna deal with that. We're not even gonna deal with that. All right, we're gonna see if we can find another video real quick about it. It was kind of sensational. I thought it was. I thought it was kind of noteworthy, and I was going to talk about it because it's not exactly new, but it's kind of interesting. 19-year-old suspect arrested, shooting at the Riverwalk, leaves 2 dead, 5 injured. You know, they're totally and completely screwing us. out of, like being able to see this young man say the things, whatever he's saying. All right. And so they did totally screw us. But okay, if you somehow find it and if you have the nerve, basically, just to give you his face again, this young man, he's being asked questions. I'm going to have to narrate it for y'all. It's ridiculous. But this young man is being asked questions on his way into like a different cruiser or whatever. Maybe he's being taken to a different jail, or I don't know, from court to jail. Anyways, they're accosting him. And they're like, "Oh, hey, what happened? Why'd you kill all these people and stuff?" And basically, he winds up just real briefly as he's walking, explaining that it was in self-defense. All right, which to me, that's essentially, he said very confidently that it was in self-defense, and he mentioned something about it that like they were going to kill him if he didn't kill them. And it really, really made me wonder. Y'all are in a club, and I want to imagine and envision what the heck's going on in San Antonio at the Riverwalk, where people spend money. You're at a club, at Ventura Club. I never heard of it, but you're there, and okay, so in self-defense, what you're saying is you wound up killing these two guys, you killed them, and you shot. Let's not forget 5 other people. All right, so that's also a big part of the situation. And so you did all that in self-defense. And just trying to imagine the scenario. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, if this is truly in self-defense, imagine that's kind of wild. Then all those people were probably plotting against you, is what you're saying. At least one of them brandished a gun. You said, I think I heard that someone pulled out a gun. I don't know if they showed a gun, or they actually went and pulled out a gun, which is totally different. I mean, it's different. I mean, that is a different level, right? So I'm not sure, but a gun was produced, and then you produced your gun, and that's what he said. He's like, I basically shot him, before I could get shot. And it's like, was that what was happening? You shoot him and shoot another guy who maybe he also had a gun, and then shot 5 other people because perhaps they all had guns you didn't know. I mean, it seemed like everybody had guns, I guess. At least 2 people had guns, according to this guy's story. And perhaps that was the case. I want to see some video footage and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go out of my way, but if that's being produced, I would like to see some. Like if they were to give me that video footage, I would check it out and I would want to see it. And I'd study it just like everybody else. And I want to get to the bottom of it. Is it self-defense? I mean, that really, because if it is self-defense, dang, dude, like, now you really had to go into hiding, probably, or even killing all these people, shooting all these other people. That's a wild situation you got yourself into, young man. On the Riverwalk, at a club, how does that make sense? I mean, definitely you'd want to know, okay, who came to who, you know what I'm saying? Who approached who caught who at the club? They caught him at the club? Oh, man, it's wild. So I'd want to get out of the bottom of it, basically. But, okay, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is there was another guy. And you know what? These people from out of San Antonio, God bless them, I don't know who they are. It's like nobody knows who they are and stuff. Some people on the internet might know, and so they might get like some little bit of money. Might even get to sign a contract with some record label or something like that. I don't know who these people are. But there was a rapper, actually. See, this guy's a rapper. See, what I forgot to explain is he's talking about his Instagram. And in fact, actually, just to get a better feel for the young man, I think we could go to his Instagram. I checked him out on Instagram because he said what it was. And so I saw, what he had going on. He said during his little speech from the court to the jailhouse, he said that he's an upcoming artist. Believe it or not. And so, like with what people are doing nowadays, where sometimes they'd be murdering people and going to jail for it, and then dropping their album for real. Like that's what's happening allegedly. It seems like you've seen that. If you've been looking at the same stuff around the way, it's been happening. Like, it's coming a kind of a trending issue, right? And so this guy, he says he's got an Instagram, he's an upcoming artist, and actually it's very reminiscent to another guy. And I forget the guy's name, so we're not going to go ahead and waste time too much, but suffice it to say, you could look it up. Using the right keywords, you could look it up that there was a rapper from San Antonio. I forget his name. Man, it's real forgettable, but he was a rapper in San Antonio. He's getting a little bit of money, I suppose. He's definitely getting more money than me, for sure. And he had actually killed somebody a couple years ago, at least. All right, so it goes a little bit farther back. Killed somebody, and I don't know if he did the whole self-defense thing or what exactly happened, but he got off. I believe either that or he spent very very little time in jail over it. All right, so he did that happened, and it was interesting because he was promoting his Instagram that's how he first got notable, is after he killed the guy. He's like, and I'm on Instagram, find me on Instagram and stuff, like on the news. And so, some people find out about him. Not really that many. It wasn't very notable. But that was what was interesting. He promoted his Instagram, all right? And so he got a little bit more of a following and street cred and stuff like that. It's unfortunate. But then later on, maybe a year later or so, I might be messing up the times, that particular rapper actually got killed, shot dead, over at the Rim, which is a very nice, classy place. He's probably like in a parking lot by PF Chang's or something like that. He got shot up dead in front of his son. His son was in the car. God bless him. They didn't shoot the little boy. All right, that's actually props to that. To be honest with you, all right. Thankfully, they did not shoot his little boy, but they shot him up dead. And so that's kind of like a typical scenario. That's how it would kind of play out. All right, and that's what I can imagine is down the line for the future of this young boy. All right, so I want to see the comments. I want to see what's been left here. All right, nothing. All right, well that's all right. We are kind of going willy-nilly. I don't know what people would really want to talk about out there, but while we have a little bit of time before we get out of here, just like what we typically had to do, I guess we're gonna go through like a news flurry. Let's go through a news flurry. Let's see if we could do it. I forget how exactly it's done. I know we had to go to Google and ask them about it, but I think we had to re-go to Google. I messed it up by searching some stuff. Let's go to Google and see what they tell us. All right, but it's definitely different things that I wanted to bring up. Dang, we got impeachment. Okay, here's the thing. But just because I mentioned it, I'll show you real quick the Instagram of this young fella because he might be interested. All right, so if you are interested, all right, I'll let you know right now. I think I remember exactly what it was called. It was called underscore. Let me see if I could type it in. Oh no, it's this guy right here. Okay, so it remembered me. Oh, thank you for remembering me. Anyways, look, we're not gonna go into it just because I've already previewed it. Not very many. Like he didn't have very many posts, right? And he's just an upcoming artist. Not really. He just realized that, oh man, if I'm gonna be a rap artist, it better be right now because I murdered these people. And self-defense or otherwise, I'm not sure. But he didn't really have too many posts, but he did have some posts with him rapping. It's very uneventful. It's not really worth looking at. That is crazy. What a way to what are we gonna say? For to advertise on Instagram? Yeah, no, now it's becoming typical. Not only is it a crazy way, but it's been done before. It's like now it's popular, and that's kind of interesting. I don't know whether or not this guy's lying or not lying. All right, and we need to get down to the bottom of it. But very uneventful, and I'm sorry to say it, but obviously there's not much on his Instagram, and I don't know where else to find him. So not very much to see there. And then also, we'll talk about it in a second, but also we got that South African, and I want to check in on him before we get out of here. We're running a little bit low on time. I'll say we got 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, all right, to bang it all out. So we're going to get to that South African. God bless everybody in South Africa, right? It's like there's a lot of countries. Hong Kong, shout out to Hong Kong. Shout out to Taiwan. Shout out to all these people. Shout out to all these people around the world, man. Australia, dang. Shout out to Tasmania, obviously. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to Canada. We know people in all these places. All right, all over the United States of America. And shout out to everybody out there and stuff like who's pulling for the same thing we're pulling for here on this channel. That's how you got here. And shout out to everybody, but South Africa especially to be included. Do not forget it. Don't nobody ever forget it. That's the thing about South Africa. No matter what, no matter what, no matter what you do, because we can all only do certain things. Do not forget it. Do not forget it. All right, just don't forget it. That's all. That's all you got to do about South Africa. Just don't forget it because. I think it's going to be a lot. I mean, it's like looking into the future. South Africa, how bad it can get, right? And sometimes it get bad. And there's nice places in South Africa, just like everywhere else, right? Places where people get along just fine. Certain places, right? And we know people from there. We know people from everywhere, right? And shout out to all those people. And we're going to go into the Instagram of the guy, the South African, who's walking from Austin to Washington, D.C. I forget what's his ETA. I don't know how long it would take to do something like that. If you're doing it all day, I wonder how long it would take. And we're going to check in on him. But meanwhile, we're going to go for a news flurry, all right? I'm going to get some coffee. And then we're going to be ready for the news flurry. As you can see, that ugly, disgusting politician revealed Ghislaine Maxwell's secret emails hacked by cyber criminals. Those criminals, what are they trying to get? Justice? Stupid criminals. And potential new blow for Prince Andrew. It don't even matter, you guys. Promise you, it do not matter at all. Unless there was some sort of mass global war. Prince Andrew's going to remain being Prince Andrew whether anybody likes it or not. You might as well just pay them no mind. In fact, you might as well get your independence or something like that. Try and get free from these mongrels. I don't know, alleged mongrels. I'm not sure. Not all of them, obviously. But Ghislaine Maxwell, oh man, she got cyber hacked. Isn't that a crime? Isn't that so criminal? All right, it's ridiculous. Anyways, it's a dangerous situation. Homeless camp bordering North Austin. Yeah, there's big old homeless camps in Austin. I said, hey, I hope we don't start looking like Austin, being that, from San Antonio is really not far from Austin. So I hope we don't start looking like them, because over the past few years, they've been getting ramped up homeless people. And people say, what, you're racist? You're racist against homeless people? It's like, no, they don't even have a race. Secondly, it's not that I'm hating on the homeless people. I go out and talk to homeless people all the damn time, all right? If they're around me and stuff like that, I'm not going to I'm not going to turn my back on a homeless person. I'd rather talk to them than, you know what I'm saying? But, okay. If we don't need more homeless people, like that's a terrible sign, right? So we didn't need to be just like Austin. I was saying it. Meanwhile, the freaking mayor, all right? And I'm sorry, but I'm just going to leave it at that. The mayor of San Antonio is hiring people directly from San Francisco. I'm not making it up. Documented and talked about on the news. Hired a company from San Francisco to help us, to quote, help us manage our homeless people in San Antonio. If you can even imagine, like manage their poop onto the streets or something like that. That's not a problem here in San Antonio. Human feces on the street is not a problem here in San Antonio. And it might be starting to be a problem in Austin, and it is contagious. All right, it's damn ridiculous. And so he's doing that right in front of our faces and stuff like that. We don't got a time to go see a video. But he's doing that sort of thing, and he's like, oh, yeah, just trust me. It's not going to get bad. It's not going to get terrible. It's not going to get terrible by 2020. Look at these guys' faces. Oh, man. Look at the faces we have to look at. Tom Homan hits back at Biden for remark on illegal immigrants arrested for DUI. Said he's lost his mind. I don't know who Tom Homan is. That's a hell of a chin he's got on him. I don't know who he is. I don't really care about what Biden said about illegal immigrants and DUI probably a long time ago when he was for a border wall and all this sort of stuff. Um, I don't care what the hell Biden said. Has he lost his mind? I think that's quite clear. All right. Do we not? I mean, do we have to go and watch him talking about little children feeling his leg hairs again? Talking about cockroaches in the pool and how he likes children sitting on his lap, staring at black children all around him. Do we have to actually look at that video again? Shout me in the comments if we actually had to look at that video again. All right, if you don't remember that, but we're on a news flurry right now. 16 top rated tourist attractions in San Antonio. Who cares? All right, come to San Antonio. That's where it's popping. All right, that's where we need to get the job done at. All right, and you probably should bring guns. All right. I'm not. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Virginia is for lovers of guns, and that's right, buddy. I mean, that's part of the current. This guy right here, they're starting to call him the baby killer. They're starting to call him coon face. The Coon Man. They're calling him the Coon Man, blackface, KKK baby killer. Northam, and it's so funny because you could say all these things and it's literally true. It's not like hyperbole. He's literally all these things, and he's against your guns. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that a weird coincidence? So, so it was proven over the top fashion, but obviously it's not going to change the mind of anybody. It's that, yeah, people are going to come out with your when you issue your useless threats, and they're going to come out anyways in your face, and they're going to do it all sort of guns. And meanwhile, like, I bet you did everything in your power, in your powers that you have, to make sure that and I heard things. I've already heard the evidence of the fact is that you did everything in your dang power to make sure something bad happened over at those rallies, and then meanwhile nothing bad happened in your damn face, in front of your damn house. Alright? And so, but the thing is, you drew the line, alright? You said what you said unapologetically. For those people who never heard him talking about killing babies after they're born, as per policy, yeah, he did talk about all those things. And then he did lie miserably. That's the thing about it. Ultimately, man, you know, you look back at the whole blackface KKK thing that he had back in his day that he sported so proudly. And the thing is, you look at it and it's so funny because this guy could have denied it up and down no matter what, no matter how much evidence came out, no matter what. And honestly, if you look back at it, I bet you he could have denied it up and down. And if he would have just done that, it would have kind of blown over, unfortunately, because of our attention span. No matter how much evidence you deny, you say, I don't know, I never got a yearbook, nothing. Even if they proved that you did get a yearbook, even if they proved that all sort of different ways that you did, you never got one, you never saw one, it didn't matter to you, somebody slipped that in there, you deny the whole thing. But we know that he's lying just because he lied so bad. See, if you deny the whole thing, there's plausibility that maybe perhaps you were not involved with it, but you lied so bad that it's obvious that you did it. Virginia Sheriff, I won't enforce these laws. See, there you go, man. People are stepping up just like they're having to, because we're literally not trying to become Nazis over each other, literally, and start killing each other for our guns just the way that the Nazis did, the exact same way. We're not trying to do that. There's a lot of people not trying to do that. And we're stepping up. So it's like, as America, technically, if you look at it in generalities, we're stepping up saying, absolutely not will we be Nazis on each other while we're being called Nazis by a whole bunch of white people who's calling us all Nazis no matter what color we are or no matter where we come from. And outbreak from new virus rises to 440 in China. And so, okay, that's another thing. All right, just to touch upon it, that whole coronavirus, is it real, is it fake? There's a lot of tomfoolery and hoaxery and this and that. What about Ebola? What about this and that? Yeah, man, stuff really fishy is still happening. It hasn't burst out over to all everybody, but stuff is still fishy happening. I can assure you, as far as the southern border, what, say, for example, African people might be just seeping in through the border. That's literally happening and documented. It's notable. The Africans is coming through, and then of course the Chinese. Now, Chinese might come through the southern border, but I doubt it. It's kind of harsh. Lots of times you can imagine they're coming, perhaps they're coming in through ships. Some they're not so far, but most of them, the majority, I believe, come through airplanes and just landing here, just staying here, overstaying their welcome because it's not highly regulated. Basically, we're not so strict about it. If they overstay, we're just like, meh. I guess you get to wander around the country for as long as you want until we catch up with you, and so a lot of them are doing that, and of course, having say anchor babies. In fact, I would have from what I heard, the majority of anchor babies is Chinese babies. All right, so now they're talking about coronavirus and how it might spread. Well, you know what? That's the thing. It seems as though, and from a simple perspective, that a lot of diseases be happening over there, right? They're different from us, right? Man, we don't have those kind of diseases for whatever reason. Maybe we have different diseases, but they have different ones, and they bring them over here. That's the thing about it. When we really think about it and be very simple brained, right, and put everything together, there's a lot of people who say are not who are pro-choice when it comes to vaccines. They want the choice whether or not to give vaccines or put vaccines into their little babies. And then there's some people say, no, you pump those little babies full of all sort of vaccines right now, this instant, or else you're not a good parent. Right? Basically, that's the extreme on the other side, right? They're saying you're putting my child at risk because your child's not, and so there's that whole debate, all right? Meanwhile, quite obviously, if you even cared at all for a second about, say, invasive diseases and stuff and your child catching something, you don't want to close up that border so tight. You don't want to close up every border, all four borders, the oceans in Canada, and you would close them all up, and the people you let in, you'd let them in, but you'd have them well documented, right? So if you're getting anybody sick, we want to know who you are. We're gonna want to know where you gone. We want to know who else you might have got sick up in here, because we're not playing that. But meanwhile, those people who want to pump your baby full of all sort of vaccines, they also want to have the borders wide open to anybody and everybody. No borders, no wall, no USA at all. Quite literally. All right, so we're running out of time, and we're gonna wind it. We're gonna wind it on down. We're gonna wind it on down, y'all. But Brenda, from Unwrapped by Brenda, has something to say about China. She says all those quote flus, not floozies, but all those flus start in China. Isn't it quite interesting? You might say, well, it's just different kind of disease, and that lots of times they're all piled up together and they don't have so much hygiene products necessarily, and they're piled all up together. You can imagine certain kind of diseases would fester, and could you even blame them for that? I don't know that you could blame them, but however, you could just make sure that those people don't have no diseases when they're coming to America, not trying to give us diseases, but trying to desperately not die from the diseases that they incurred back in their other place where they were definitely going to die. I don't know if you could blame them, but you could sure regulate them, and that would be the thing to do. However, people. That's the thing. I think it were up to Donald Trump, rhetorically speaking, he would have those borders closed pretty tight, as far as regulated who comes in, who doesn't. But meanwhile, whether or not it's a show, nothing really happens because people are struggling against Donald Trump. All right, could just be a show. Maybe they're on the same side, working together. But maybe they're not, all right? And so, the sides are clearly drawn in that sense. And, there's other stuff, I'm sure. So what did we cover? The impeachment, that's a joke, obviously. That's painfully slow. We all want it to be done. All right, we probably shouldn't be saying the word impeachment anymore. I mean, the next person who gets elected, dude, let's be real with each other. Some people don't believe, the elections are real. I believe there's a real factor to them, and that you do not want to make a whole nation of people angry all at once. If you make them all angry all at once, bad things will happen. All right. So the election is partly organic. It is very much fraudulized and stuff like that. People do cheat, and they cheat all over the place, i.e., Hillary Clinton. But there's only so much they can do. That's why I stress, man. If you win an election, you have to win in a landslide. You have to. There's no getting around it because they're gonna cheat and cheat and cheat and cheat regardless, and they just might not be able to cheat enough to win. All right, so that being said, okay, this nice upcoming election, the last one, obviously everybody will remember it. I mean, it's like that JFK moment, dude. Everybody's gonna remember that. So, but this 2020, I don't care who gets in office. I don't care who it is, Democrat or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for all we care. That person, I better not hear the dang words impeachment at all. At all. I don't care who it is or what they're doing. The words impeachment do not come up. I mean, like I said earlier, as far as policy, you don't have to agree with a damn thing what the president's doing, or maybe you disagree with half of it. But that's about policy. Let's forget about this impeachment stuff. That's actually just what I put out there as a humble suggestion. I don't know if you'll take it. But let's forget about this whole impeachment stuff, because what we're doing is embarrassing ourselves in front of the whole country. Right? What is an election? Right? If we're going to talk about impeachment the whole entire time, it does not make sense. Virginia rally, that went over without a hitch. Right? Coronavirus, who knows? Ebola virus, who's to say? But we do have Africans coming in. We do have Asians coming in. That's for sure. We do have Hispanics coming in, and we got all sort of South Americans coming in. And as racist as we are, we still have people pouring in to the point where I can't even believe it. All right. So we're gonna get up out of here and let us know if there's any final thoughts. All right. We ran out of time. But as we're getting up out of here, I thought, of course, we're not gonna do it without getting an update. I don't know how to work Instagram necessarily. We see that Conor McGregor totally whooped on that guy, that cowboy guy. For anybody who saw that was happening, I didn't realize that fight was a few days ago, but he whooped on him real good. All right, it was embarrassing. But at the same time, the guy got in the ring, and there's something to be said about that. He just got pretty much annihilated by Conor McGregor too. It looked like it. Honestly, I saw it. It's very brief. You can see it on YouTube. I don't know how to freaking work Instagram. All right, but he annihilated. It looked like a schoolyard fight. It was very unfair. It's a very unfair fight. All right, just real quick before we go and finish on the South African man, the Buffalo Boar, walking to DC. I did want to take a quick look and see what the hell Aaron Carter's posting. For those people who don't know, we're not going to go into too much detail, but man, if you ever wanted to dive down a rabbit hole, all right, this is where you start, and you'll dive down so far, and you'll get so far, and trust me, you'll never get to the bottom, and you'll get dizzier and dizzier. No matter how far you go, it's just dizzier and more nauseous, and it's just a sickening feeling. And what I got to stress is, I don't wish any ill will upon Aaron Carter ever. I wish him the best in life. This is a dark road that he's taking, all right? And it only ends in one certain way. Without me even saying it, you know what way that is. This story like these end in one particular way, all right? And let's just call it abruptly. All right, and it's ridiculous. It's mad ridiculous, but at the same time, quite entertaining. Like, if someone were to make a movie about it, oh man, would that put meat in the seats? You know what I'm saying? Do people even go to movie theaters? Shout out the people up in the building. I see this for y'all. We're about to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? We're winding it down. But you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that put your meat up in the seats? You could see that Aaron Carter's life on the big screen. Meanwhile, Aaron Carter himself, it's very, man, it's weird because it's a slow-moving train. It is very boring most of the time, but at the same time, just walling out, all right, and a dark path, and going to end terribly. And I wish it wouldn't, but that's what it looks like. All right, we're checking out this young man as we get up out of here, y'all. I appreciate all y'all. All right, it's January the 22nd, 2020, and we're looking at this young man right here, and he's walking to DC. He's probably still in Texas. That's what it looks like, right? Um, Texas is a big place. That might be like half of his whole journey, actually. So he's getting out of Texas. He's walking through all these places. As you can tell, we're not much for trees, but you know what? We like our trees, right? There's people who climb trees around here. And he's looking at them. It kind of looks eerie, right? But it is winter time, so you know, those are our trees. No passing zone. I mean, it's a long, hard journey for our man. Just to let you know, and there are lots of times that you know there might not be much to look at depending on how high you are up there, and you got him looking at his shadow. It's a long, lonely road, right? And so when you look at the pictures and say, "Oh man, this is not maybe not so great," well, that's part of Texas, number one. And now look, got into Louisiana. All right, so you know we're gonna start seeing a little bit more different stuff, and I look forward to that. All right, because I've seen Texas. It's just walking back in history. I'm not sure, man, but yeah, probably because it's like an old house. Let's take a look at these pictures. Huh. Plantation and stuff like that. These old time Texas houses and stuff. Just to let you know, man, people used to ball out in Texas, and they still do. They still do. But they used to as well. Just hard. I mean, and talk about way back. So now he's in Louisiana, it looks like, crossing over. He's over, like I said, there's I believe, a gas station now, maybe? Some restaurant from out of nowhere. All right. Just looking at that, looking at that road. All right. So us, you know, out there, like, for example, we'll look at that horizon. You know, and it's something interesting about that horizon. It's very exciting, right? But it's like it's one of those things that you'll never grab onto. You always want to get to the horizon. Like say for runners out there, you'll get there, but then there'll be another horizon, all right? And that horizon that you got to just wasn't what it used to be, all right? So that's what he's looking at. Happy as a clam. Walking for South Africa. Look at that Texas deliciousness, all right? Fry everything up in here. Fry the whole sandwich. Is that a fried shrimp sandwich? I don't know. I don't know if he hitched a ride. He looks like he did. Or maybe he's just running. Happy as a clam, all right? Can't get no happier. Talking to people, talking to old people about South Africa. Or maybe about World War II. Talking to old man, WW2 veteran, right? In Texas or in Louisiana. All right, just hanging out, doing that sort of stuff. Heading to Washington, D.C. That's not a good way. I don't think he'll find his way through there. I hope he doesn't go down there. He said, never give up hope. You probably should turn around and not go that way. All right, it's a dead end. But anyways, that's where he's at right now. He said, never give up hope. Never give up hope. All right, and that goes out to South Africa, and it goes out to all y'all out there. I appreciate you. Sometimes it's all we have, but that is, it's like, okay, so sometimes that's what we have. That's all we have. All right, but if you lose that at any point in time, no matter all that you have, you could have everything, all the little goodies that people want, right? And then if you lose hope, none of it matter. None of it does. All right, so you know, let's dwell upon that, and we're gonna get up out of here. I appreciate all y'all, and I gotta get up out of here and make some of that money. I don't know about y'all, but we might be back here on Friday. You know, it's to touch base, man, and I'm still trying to do the whole D Live. I know it takes me a while. I have to figure out all these widgets and stuff like that to make sure it goes just right. But see, when it does go just right, I think it's going to be a blast, all right? If you've been on D Live before, actually, because I see some people on D Live, it's actually a blast. It's way more interactive. If we can get it to go right, it's going to take me a while to figure it out. But once we do, we're going to be throwing around lemons and ninja guineas and all sort of this. We're going to be opening up treasure chests and stuff like that. Just wild stuff, all right? It's very interactive and fun. It's crazy. It's like a video game, except live streaming, all right? So we're going to get that done. And I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. I appreciate y'all.